Hey, hi everybody, and welcome to a third episode of Paddle the World in 60 Minutes. So glad you could join us today. Presented by Pan Am Dragon Boat, coaches and friends from around the world. We've got a really interesting program today with Katie Cowan from Fit to Row in Orlando. She's going to talk to us about indoor rowing, concept 2, also called ergometers. And indoor rowing is commonly used by paddling athletes for off-season training, supplementary training, because it's a full body workout. It's a great workout. They're great machines. And Katie is going to walk you through the proper technique and how to row those efficiently and prevent injury. Our second presentation is going to be from Garth Cooper, who is basically the data paddle doctor. He's backed by popular demand. And he's going to provide a more comprehensive look at the data paddle and its applications for coaches and athletes. So, and again, Garth is one of the top data paddle technicians, I think, in the planet. He'll interpret that information for you. It's going to be a great presentation. So glad you're here. Tim is going to close it off at the end and talk about next week's program, which is really going to be exciting as well. So we're looking forward to that. We're getting new presenters every week. So having said that, fasten your seatbelts, kids. And Katie, over to you.
Tim, are you good?
Okay, I've got it. I've got them recording. Beautiful. I've got it.
Okay. Yeah, I can do something right once in a while. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's so good to see everybody. Welcome. I'm sitting here in the studio, so I'm going to do a little pan of you for you so you can see. This is Fit to Row. Usually not. Right now we have 10 ergs set up. So we have everything. Make sure everything's up. So we usually have about 21 ergs in here, plus 4 ski ergs, 2 paddle ergs. Then we have had the new station. We're really right now waiting for the governor to let us know if we're going to be open or not. So hopefully Monday we'll be reopening again. Fingers crossed. So welcome. But really the main point today is just basically to go over, erg technique, make sure you're safe. I have a little presentation I'm going to show you, so give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen with you all. So give me 1 second. Still learning how to do this, so.
I'm just going to jump in. Could I ask everybody to mute themselves, please? Thanks.
I think always with me, there's always techno. Okay, can everybody see it?
I'll see.
You see my screen? You're good?
Don't lean your face.
All right. All right, so if we're looking right now, we got the monkeys sitting there. So going back, sorry, I'm learning. So we got the monkeys monkeying around. So I don't want to have any monkey business during this presentation. We want to have it fun and interactive for you for today. So I had to make it laugh to have the 4 little monkey or 5 little monkeys. So, all right, let's go over really seriously, why an erg? We all exercise, and this is really what the coronavirus right now, it's been really, really hard. So I'm the type of person that I have to be in a gym. I have to have somebody over me. So, but the erg is the best. It hits all the major parts of your body, your core, which is the most important, your legs. If you have bad knees or bad hips, it really, you're not hurting yourself as long as you're doing it the right way. Calorie burner, a lot of us are sitting home. We're around the food, you're going to the refrigerator, helps with the calorie burning. Time efficient, you do it your own schedule. I mean, you can do it for 30 minutes, you can do it for 45, you can start 5 minutes and just go and increase your stamina and do longer workout pieces. It's smooth, there's no jerking moments, there's no injury on your back or your shoulders. The weight loss, it will help. I have a client right now. She is young. She's 32 years old. Last year she put on 82 pounds. She's been coming to me. She's lost 51. I mean, that's huge. And then that's right. And she hit 1,000,000 meters on the erg, making sure she was coming in with everything. So we're going to go over an erg data a little bit later on. It builds muscle mass, but there's other 2 things: your blood pressure and also your cholesterol level. My cholesterol level before even dragon boating or even working out was 243. It was high. It runs high in my family. When I go now, it's down to 167. So, and that's a big difference. You know, I got to watch my heart, especially with my dad who had heart disease and everything going on in his life. And, you know, a lot of people come to me and say, I hate the erg. I'm bored. Mix it up a little bit. Get some weights. There's always programs you can do. There's a lot of online programs, but email me. Let me know what you need. I have one lady that comes in at 6 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock in the morning, and I have to make sure that every workout is different for her. You work in the upper body, get on the erg, do some cardio, jump off, take a break, do some, and it doesn't have to be heavy weights. It could be just nice and easy. So, okay. Here we go. You guys can all read this, but your parts of an erg and the setup. This is going to be the most important. So I'm going to jump back a little bit, and hopefully you all can see. I'm going to sit here on the erg a little bit and go over everything with y'all. Basic flywheel, get your damper setting. You know, it doesn't necessarily, the best is out there. Some people believe it's a concept too, but I've been on the other machines. I've been on the Echelon. I've seen those. I've taught on those. Real quick, can everybody see me? You all good on the erg? Can you see me okay? Pat, yes, no? Shake your head. Okay. So basically, so the damper setting, you got 1 to 10. So the higher you go, everybody thinks, oh, you go to the CrossFit gyms and they're like, yeah, I'm really strong. I'm a 10. I can do it really easy. Okay, good for you. You could do it at 10. Take it down to where your comfort level is. It's your power. So you can be at a 1 or a 0 and still get the pull and still get a full body workout on that. So you got the damper setting here. So if you're a beginner or intermediate, fine, play around with your damper setting. You know, when you're doing your workouts at the gym, you're going to find your right one. For me, I'm comfortable at a 4. That's just my damper setting. I like it. I'm comfortable there. If I want to raise it up, that's fine. You might have a bad day. So you come on, I'm like, man, I have clients come in here and go, I had a really hard day. I just want to just work out. And I'll put it on a 2. Listen to your body. That is the most important when you're doing your workouts. And some days you only have 20 minutes, and that's okay. The next, and we'll go over a little bit more, this is the hardest part, your monitor. How many times do you go to the gym and you just sit down, strap in, ready to go, hit the monitor, I'm just going to row? That's boring. So I can show you how to program different workouts in there. Make it fun for yourself. You know, do your 2-minute timepiece on there. Set it up like 4 or 5 different times and see how well you can go or how well you can do. You know, think about your practices during the workouts on the water. You know, visualize. That's one of the biggest things too, is visualize you're sitting on the boat, on the erg, and you're doing 40 seconds on, 20 seconds down, or 30 seconds on, 15 seconds down. I mean, just, it will create variety for you so you don't get bored. Of course,
Katie, can I interrupt just for a second? Sorry. Do you want to check with Tim to make sure people can see you? Because I cannot.
Uh-oh.
Tim, if you could unmute yourself and see if, are you seeing Katie?
Yeah, well, I've got the PowerPoint, and I can see Katie as well.
You see me okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
All right, as long as you guys can see me okay. So as I was saying, the handlebar simple. You got your foot pedal here. Now, here's the other thing people are always asking about. You know, you have up and down. You have 1 through 6. How do I know? I'm just going to sit down in an erg and go for it. You know, I always tell people, put this strap around the ball of your foot. Well, where's the ball of my foot? Everybody's different. I always tell people, go by your shoelaces where the ends, that's your ball of your foot. So we're going to strap in here for you. You're going to make me work out today. Uh-oh, Pat, don't critique, okay? All right, so as you all know, there are 4 parts of a stroke. Just like we're in the boat, the catch, the drive, the finish, and the recovery. If you look at the PowerPoint slide that I have up for you to make it easier, there's demonstrations I put the 4 little guys there, so you have that. So basically, you get on an erg. A lot of people will get on, here we go, we're gonna go, and hit it this way. You'll see a lot of the CrossFitters will go back, go like this, thinking they're getting more power. We don't wanna do that. A, safety and technique, do no harm. So you always want to sit nice and tall. If your heels come up, it's okay. My calves are tight. I've always been. I was a skier when I was younger. So my heels are going to come up. You always got to remember your toes stay down. And when it goes back like that, I don't know if you can see, your toes will come back. We call it hooking the toes. You don't want to do that because it feels like you're going to get more power. You get more, more stability to hang on to oh, I can't think of it. Oh, come on. Just hold on to the straps. You're going to get more power. You don't. You really want to test yourself. Take your feet out of the straps when you're at the gym and work out that way. And that's a real challenge because then you actually have to think about keeping your toes down and driving through your heels and holding your core. Okay, sidetrack for a second. So 4 parts of a stroke. Catch, drive, finish, recovery. You're gonna step nice and tall. Back is always straight, okay? People will say, how do I know, you're telling me to be careful, don't, dip a lot. I'll show you. Your knees should be parallel to the floor, okay? Again, if your heels come up, it's okay. Your seat should be 5 to 7 inches away from your heels. Your arms, nice and straight. Wrists are nice and straight. That chain, have it come out right in the middle of that box. So if you're on a different, other than a concept 2, it's okay. Just make sure it stays even. So catch position. Your hands should be really like playing the piano, nice and loose, okay? So your catch position, nice and tall. Chest is up, shoulders are down. So when your chest is up, you're not curving. You're gonna restrict your breathing. So always remember, keep that chest up. You're automatically gonna pull through your lats. Catch position. Now, drive position, next one. Drive, push through your heels, keeping your toes down. You're gonna come back. You're gonna think of a clock though. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, okay? Come all the way back just to 2 o'clock. Now, if you have a bad back, come to 1 o'clock, all right? You're gonna see some people that go all the way back like this. I have a bad back, I can feel it. So you don't wanna put any injury on your lower back. So 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, you will know. Make sure you control your seat. So catch position, drive through your heels, finish. Now that handlebar comes straight back between the sternum and your belly button. So it comes back. Now, a lot of times come back. You'll see a lot of people put their elbows out, chicken wings. You don't want to be flying away, lose power. So come right back, pretend there's a ball here. You're gonna touch and go. And remember, you're at that 2 o'clock position. You're gonna think about now hinging forward. And if you sit on the ear, you can go back and forth. Think about 10 and 2, 10 and 2. Now, when you're sitting here, your arms are gonna come over your knees. As soon as your arms come over your knees, that's when your knees pop up and you come back to the catch position. Again, perpendicular to the floor, 5 to 7 inches away from the heels. You're not gonna get a tape measure out and go, okay, how far am I? You will know. You don't wanna be, whoop, you don't wanna be doing that. You'll see some people come all the way up when they're working out, touching and then come all the way up. Another way you'll know is when you come back, if your arms don't come out first, your knees do, you're gonna hit. And the other option too is you'll see some people go like this. No dipping, straight out, back and forth, straight out. Now, remember I told you too, I wanna hit the core part. So even if I wasn't using the handlebars, you sit here, work your core, come back to 10, come back to, 2 and 10. I always get the clock mixed up. So come to 10, go back to 2. All core work. Nothing in the shoulders or the neck. Again, protect. All right, so catch, drive, finish, recovery. So you're coming back, arms come over your knees pop up, and you're back. Go. Done. You're starting your second stroke. There's one other thing I want you to remember. It's the 1 to 2 ratio. So a lot of people will say to me, okay, I'm gonna go, okay, I'm gonna go, hurry up, let's go. No, take it nice and easy. Catch, drive, finish, recovery, power. You don't jump. When you make a basket, you don't jump like this. You get everything nice and tight. You wanna squeeze that butt, that's power, so everything gets tight. So drive back. Now, think of a ratio. I'm gonna go back, power is 1, 1, 2, catch your breath. That's recovery. Catch, drive, finish, recovery. So it's stroke out is 1, count is 1, 2. Sometimes it's 3. Sometimes you need an extra breath. So take 3 counts. Or if you're a dog lover like me, it's going to be whoop, meow, meow. Whoop, meow, meow. Then you'll make sure you go slow. All right? That's it. That's your 4 parts of a stroke. Focus on breathing, the most important. Some people get a little confused. Some people will breathe in when they go back. No, think about breathing out. So you want to go, catch your breath coming in. Breathe out, power. Come back in nice and easy. Draw. And it's a fluid motion. Sometimes you'll see people come out to here, stop, then go. Always remember to keep it nice and fluid. Okay, last part that I said, the hardest part of the whole workout, the machine. Menu. Menu is going to be your friend. There are so many different screens. There's a select workout, new workout. You cannot break a Concept 2 machine. So play around with the screen when you get to the gym or if you have one at your house. There's another great app on the Concept 2. It's free. It's called Erg Data. So if you have an Apple or if you have an Android, easy to download the app. It's free. You'll go onto the Concept 2 website. You log on. I promise you, you will not be bombarded by 9,000,001 emails because I'm not. Once a day, you'll get an email of a workout. Some of them are easy, some are medium, some are long. Great workouts. But what they also do is different challenges that you can sign up for. So a lot of times in the gym, we'll do a sign up for, what is it, 100,000 meters in a month, like the Halloween one. And it's great. And they'll send a portion for charity, proceeds what they do for Concept 2. But it just creates really like that competitive spiriting and going, I can do this month. And they'll send you fun little stuff, a pen or a shirt or a towel, something that's, interesting to use. But last thing, workouts. Everything is different. You can go 2-minute timepiece, you can go distance. I'm going to tell you this right now. It's so funny. During the class, sometimes I'll do timepieces. They absolutely hate them. And they're doing the same amount sometimes of meters as they are the distance pieces. And I don't know what it is, timepieces drive them crazy. So if you need any type of workout at all, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to send them to you. It takes me 2 minutes. I pull them out of a book and say, here, try this workout for you. I love sending them to you. Jerry, I sent some to. Maddie, I sent some to. So just ask. It takes all of like 3 minutes to do for me. So I hope that helps a little bit. It's a terrifying machine. It's torture, as I call it sometimes, because I also have the ski ergs in here too, and they're torturous, but they're a lot of fun. But if there's anything that you have any questions on, please feel free to ask. And with that, I am about done. I could go talk for an hour because I'm a salesperson. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce Mr. Garf. And if y'all can give me 1 second, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. All right. Bear with me.
While Katie's doing that, could I ask you all to make sure you're muted, please? Specifically, Coretta, Jonesy, and Betty's iPad. If you guys could make sure you're muted, that would be a big help.
And I apologize, Jonesy's here. Hi, Jonesy. All right.
Hey, girl.
I would like to introduce to you Garf. So Garf, I am going to be grabbing the ball. Let me grab the ball here. All right. Let's see.
Let me get set. Okay, go ahead.
I'm getting ready. Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'm throwing it to you now.
Oh!
Did you get it? Yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
What?
Oh, there it goes. Oh, thank you. All right. So let me go to full screen mode. And gallery, participants. All right, where's my participants? There we are. I'm going to share my screen with you. my PowerPoint. Hopefully you're seeing that now. And more. In the show mode. Are you guys seeing me and my screen, Pat? Okay, I saw you nod your head.
Yeah.
All right. Now, how do I get make sure that Tim is recording?
I've still got it. It looks good, actually, so carry on, Garth.
You're still recording?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, back to show mode, and we'll get this on the road. Okay, so this is what we did last time. We had the Dragon Boat 60 Minutes, and this is going to be Data Paddle 102. And we're going to talk more about results on this particular side event. So in the first part of it, those of you that are there, the first thing we discussed was what was the purpose of it. So in today's discussion, we're going to review that purpose. We're going to decompose the requirements that are implied by that purpose statement. We're going to look at 4 videos of data collections. Then we'll discuss the methods and tools to analyze the data, discuss the results based on paddle style adjustments and time trials. I had some pretty interesting data there. I'm going to show you a little bit more about the newest data acquisition tool called the One Giant Leap. Then quickly go through a review of the 30-stroke process and analysis steps, summarize and close. So we got to get moving with this. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to stop this share and I'm going to show you a video.
Hey, Wendy, can Wendy please mute yourself? Thanks, Wendy.
All right. So what you should see now, can you see a video, Pat? Okay, good. You're seeing Mike Mondrell on the right side with the Excalibur 2 data paddle in his hand. He's going to go for about 20 strokes here, about 25 seconds or so. Then magically, he's going to get up and move to the other side and do 20 strokes on the other side. Here he goes. He's on the other side now. So we often do this for paddlers because one of the big questions is, am I better on the right or am I better on the left? All right. And the data paddle actually helps us get some quantitative feel for if you are significantly different in your stroke. We can show you that. Then you're going to switch to another paddler magically. We're going to.
It's not giving me
Bobby McGee. Okay, is on the left side of the boat here, stroking in the first seat, and Bobby's stroking very nicely now for about 20 strokes. And then she decides that she didn't do as well on this one and wanted to do a second one. And I get this often. Everybody says, boy, that first one was really, really bad. I need to try it again. So we're going to give her another chance to do it again. And you'll get to see on what's the real difference here between doing it once or doing it twice or doing it 3 times. And this was in the same day. And I always tell them that there's not going to be much difference, but we'll do it anyhow. So you'll get the benefit of being able to go through that. All right. So hopefully you've seen all of that. We're going to go back to sharing the PowerPoint. All right. So we saw what, if you will, what a data collection series looks like for 2 different paddlers in 2 different situations. So then we're going to go in to discuss the methods and tools to analyze that particular set of data. And so first I want to go back to this purpose statement that I came up with. And being a systems engineer, you have to take the purpose statement as a broad requirement. Provide quality feedback to influence the formation of paddling skills that improves the paddler's individual contribution. What does that really mean? So I've derived several requirements here. One, I got to provide a controlled method for recording the skill data development. Provide a graphical representation of your baseline. Everybody wants to know where am I starting at? Where am I at now? Provide a means for comparing your contributions in different positions, different sides of the boat, different times. Provide some statistical data to support the skill development. Am I getting better? How do I get better? What do I have to do? And also, it's kind of interesting, we can record trials and we can actually record race performance with the paddle. I haven't been able to do a race, but I have recorded a trial, and I'll show you what that looks like and how you can use that data to help you improve your time trial effort. So the first slide I'm bringing up is from Mike Mundrell, and this is an initial baseline kind of a slide where we took 20 strokes. And the first time I bring it up, I always bring up this particular slide, which shows all 20 strokes, and it shows the orange impulse shaded in over the load path of the paddle. And the load path is in kilograms, and across the bottom is in seconds. So we've got our 20 strokes here, and I would tell Mike at this particular point that we've got everything in orange is positive effort moving the boat forward. Everything below the line, however, is negative. And a little bit later, we'll talk about how do I fix the negative, or what kind of a problem is that really? So then I'll zoom in on 5 of the paddle strokes, somewhere in the center of that group, and then I'll start talking about the characteristics of the paddle. The catch, the drive of the stroke. Catch, drive, kick, and exit. In this case, if you can follow my cursor, the large green shaded area here, that's the catch side. And I always look, and I'll look later at the angles, but positive angle is what we're looking for. And then I'm always looking to see if there's a kick. And in Mike's stroke, there's a kick. It comes in at what I expect is the normal timing just before the exit. And then there's the exit. Now his exit showed that he had some negative, if you will, impulse on his exit stroke. So that's one of the things that would be a takeaway for Mike. We need to, if we can clean up the exit, be a little quicker, a little cleaner, we'll have more positive pressure going forward rather than negative pressure, basically trying to slow the boat down. All right. So when I add I can add in the angles of the paddle from that particular recorded session, and I can look at the roll angle and the pitch angle. What I usually look for here is I look for something that just doesn't make sense. Why in the world does the paddle move in this direction, shown by that orange area there? And I'll try to go back to the videos and look at the videos and see, was that the boat that actually turned or rolled or did something, or was that the paddler doing something different with the paddle on that particular stroke? Primarily, I use this particular view to look at consistency. And Mike is a really well-practiced paddle. When he has the paddle out of the air, I look at that area. I look at his entries. Predominantly, they're all the same, with the exception of this first one back here in the front. So we would just go back and look at the video and see if we could determine whether there was anything really interesting there, or whether he knew that he did that. Because the paddle records everything. So I can also look at a few different, another view of paddle angles in X, Y, and Z. Again, trying to determine, is there a pattern that's forming that may not be as efficient as it could be? And in this case, I just said on that first stroke, going into the second stroke, we've just got some a little different pattern going on there, but it basically, all of his strokes are very, very similar. And that's because Mike's been doing this for a while and has a good solid stroke. So the paddle gives you a lot of data. Sometimes it's just for me to look at to say, can I highlight inconsistencies or consistencies? And in this case, I would say Mike is really very consistent across all of his strokes. Occasionally, I think his top hand may go a little higher or on a little different path than it does for most of his strokes. In this case, since he paddled on both sides, I thought it would be interesting for him as well as for the analysts to doing our job is trying to show what's the difference between left side and right side. So you have two comparison charts at the bottom of this particular chart here. And on the left side, where my cursor is now, it just shows a side-by-side comparison of the load path. And if you just look at the peaks, there's very little difference in the peak, and there's almost no difference in the entire stroke load path. He has a kick on both sides, left and right, and there comes in at almost exactly the same point. He has the same exit issues with just a little bit of negative impulse on his exit. So both sides he could clean up his exit, but by and large he paddles very well on either side. And if Mike were to be asked by the coach, which side are you better on? I really couldn't tell from this particular just 20 strokes whether he's really stronger on either side. I'd have to say he's very, very close to equal on both sides. And we know that for a fact, and Mike's been on both sides a lot. So I'll also overlay the angles. Again, I'm looking for consistencies and inconsistencies in that, looking at the angles on the chart. And in this case, for Mike, everything is pretty consistent. So the tool allows me to do a lot of different views of a particular stroke. I can look at 1, 5, or 20. I usually choose 5 because it gives me a nice range to look at. So in Bobby's case, Bobby was paddling on the same side from the same seat on the same day at a different time. The first one was taken at exactly 10 o'clock and 53 seconds, and the next one was taken 17 minutes later. So she said, I really didn't like how I did the first one. I'd like to try it again. And so she did it again. And again, if I look at just the peaks and I look at the style of the stroke, there's not a lot of difference between her first event and her second event. I would say that I thought this was a very interesting stroke where my paddle is right now, where she entered with a very positive angle and started pushing very early on the leg drive, and her kick came in quite early as well. But it really gives a very nice strong impulse. But she has a strong impulse on every single stroke. I think she paddled just a slight bit quicker on her second event. So I would say primarily there wasn't a huge change there. She might have felt better about it, but both of those were really good records. And I would say about the data paddle, once you go through the whole process and you get the information and the briefing, that's when you need to apply some changes if you want to really see some improvement. And you got to listen to your coach about, timing, as well as your paddle angles being positive, about your exit. Now, in Bobby's case, the exit here are very clean. They're very flat, very quick and clean and flat. She has a really nice exit. So don't really have any things that she could work on. I'd like to see a slightly different formation, but this is a really strong high impulse stroke. So one of the things I said that you could experiment, and I was able to work with an Olympic athlete from Canada who wanted to use the data paddle to see if he could improve his own times in the OC1. And so I gave him the paddle and I says, go out and do whatever you want to do. Change your stroke however you want to change it. So all these little arrows, I was able to graph all 6 of his events afterwards and show him the difference between each one. So he had one over here, he called it the easy. Next one in the square was called the full stroke. He had another diamond pointing up, he called no legs. Well, the diamond pointing down was very aggressive. The diamond pointing to the right was pull back, and the diamond pointing forward was a snappy exit. So if I were to look at this from the data that we used average rating, which was the rate that he was paddling at. He was paddling at about a 72 stroke rate. Here's his average rating. So the top 3 are between 72 and 72 strokes a minute. And then his average impulse, okay, which is the power that he's putting on, varies on the lower side here. At 72 to 73 strokes a minute, his not very aggressive and full stroke events, if you will, turned out to be probably the strongest events. So you kind of go, really? Is it just because I was more aggressive, or because I had a really solid, efficient stroke? Because what it does show is that some of the things that he was trying to do, like a snappy exit and a pullback and an easy stroke, don't produce the same kind of power at the same rate as he can do when he wants to go with a full stroke or go very aggressive. So he was able to take that away, and hopefully, I think the next time he did his runs, he was very happy to go a little bit faster by having a full, very aggressive stroke. And this is the piece of data that I took after going on. I decided on a time trial that I would use the paddle in the OC2. So another way to use the paddle and the data is to go look at a full event. In this case, there are 95 strokes in this OC2. Well, I think it was a 200-meter event. And what I was looking to do with the data was to identify fatigue points and identifying any, count the number of strokes I had so I could develop maybe a better strategy for doing my my time trials. And in this case, what I've noticed in the past, at about 42 seconds, most athletes start to have just the first signs of fatigue. And so the red line here and the arrow shows where 42 seconds is, and there's the red line. And you can see that the peaks of most of those strokes beyond that 42 second are at least a couple of kilograms below the first 49 strokes. The first 5 strokes of this was just getting the boat started, and that's what happens to us during a start phase. We get a really good load on the paddle, we push real hard, and then as the boat starts to move, we're not able to put the same amount of pressure on the paddle because we're having to keep up with the boat. But I was able to keep up with it pretty strongly, about the same level for about 49 strokes, slight drawback, and then at 42 seconds in, started fatigue to the end of the event. So again, gives me more information on how I can plan and train for my next time trial. So I'm going to slide over to what I call the One Giant Leap paddle, and you can see it in the video behind me. It's the one on the far left. I'm just going to pick it up here. All right. So it doesn't look a whole lot different than any paddle that you've seen. All of the smarts in the One Giant Leap paddle are in the handle. All right. And it's a pretty inventive piece of equipment. It has some features that I like. It has a wireless feature where it can provide feedback directly to a Garmin watch in a real-time scenario. So we see the Garmin watch is on the left where my cursor is, and this picture in the center is I was sitting on the beach and I put the Garmin watch on a stick in front of me at the seat. So when I'm paddling, every stroke I get direct feedback. So how do you use that? Well, you use it to train yourself to have the feel for what it feels for a high impulse stroke. In this case, it would be watts probably over 100. What does it take? What kind of pressure, and how do I do that? Can I get there with all arms? Do I have to use my legs? Do I have to use a full body stroke? And what you find out is, just like you do on the erg, if you try that same thing, you don't get your full power until you employ all the muscles that Pat and all the coaches have been telling you to employ. So you got to do the full rotation. You got to do a positive entry angle. You got to sit back, sit up, press with that leg until and then you'll get in the 150s on the watt meter. So this gives you an opportunity to get some immediate feedback. Another nice thing about this paddle is it also has some memory on board, and it records a similar graph to what the Excalibur paddle records. And I'm still learning quite a bit about that graph. But in the meantime, the watch records some nice data. So in this case, the watch was reporting speed, stroke rate at about 54, and it recorded the watts on every single stroke for that day. This is just showing that it was about 17 or 18 minutes of paddling, and not continuously, but we were getting a watt output for that whole time. Some nice things about the One Giant Leap paddle that it does that the other paddle does not have that capability. You have to go through an app on your phone to get it to go into record mode. But once you do, you get back a set of graphs that are like what is shown on the screen. So for every single stroke, there are 5 graphs. In this case, it has your top hand, your bottom hand force, your hand power, your blade force horizontal, and the blade force vertical. And I'd like to tell you that I understand exactly what every one of those mean, but I can't tell you that because I'm just getting used to trying to read this particular data. By and large, it looks a lot like the load path of the Excalibur paddle. If you combine the bottom part with the top part. But they've got some idea. They had some idea, since they're from a kayak background, that knowing your top hand force and your bottom hand force are important. And I'm not sure that applies to dragon boaters, but I'm open to anything I can learn about my stroke and how I can adjust it. I really like to be able to adjust my stroke and then go back and look at these again and see what the differences were. But that was these were just standard, if you will, 80% strokes that we were looking at. So I was trying to introduce you to some new technology. That's the only thing I know that's out there today, is different than the old Excalibur paddles from Merlin. So the next phase is just to take you quickly through a 30-stroke analysis. Okay, so just like I had Bobby and Mike go through 20 strokes each. We also have done some at the 30-stroke level, which gives you a few more strokes to look at. But the primary things I'm looking for when I do this very initial analysis are exits, dirty exits on the first one. I'm looking for identifying the kick. I'm going to check for positive angles. If you've done more than one run, we'll overlay that and look at it to make sure we can tell you whether you're stronger on the left or right, or in seat 6 or in seat 3. Identify areas for improvement, and then we would go back again and review the video, and especially on the exit, and try to show you where in the exit you're dragging the paddle. I'm going to quickly go through these chart charts again. There's the first one. Like I said, I always bring up the fact that everything positive is orange, everything below the line is negative. In this case, we got dirty exits across the board, and so that would be an area for improvement. I go to the next one. I'm looking for that kick. and this is Tim Swift gave me this particular data. He's got a kick on every stroke, so that's good on him. And so that would be a positive. The next thing we do is I look at the angles, and again, I'm looking for consistency on a positive angle going in. I'd say in some cases, Tim's not as positive as he could be. He goes in closer to 0 or negative. And so I would say that he needs to hold this rotation and go in on a positive angle, because he's not quite reaching that until he gets halfway through the stroke. And but everything looks very consistent. He's a very practiced paddler, and I love the fact that he's got a kick on every stroke. Then he did 2 sets, so I was able to look at a left and a right. And in this case, you probably say that the first one that he did was slightly stronger by and large than the second one, although the load path is very similar on both of the events. One was the left side, the other was the right side, and so he's a very consistent paddler on both sides, but he tends to be a little stronger on I think the left side. And we would look again at the angles to see if there was anything that would tell us that there's any inconsistencies. But what I like about Tim is every time I look at him having the paddle out of the water and then going back in, it's the same. So if he makes some changes to improve, it's going to happen across the board. And that would be, that's all you can say about what's going on with the angles. They're all solid. Little bit, this one here looks like that was probably more of a negative angle than this one up here. So I can really dissect these individual strokes, but when I look at 4 or 5 of them, you kind of say, you know, there's always slight changes. We're not machines. That's the whole thing. There was a time when I used to try to compare a human stroke to a machine stroke, and I found out that was kind of futile because we're not machines, and we paddle differently on so many times. So we might have 3 really great strokes, and then our mind wanders off, and we go, whoa, what was that about? Or somebody in front of us might have interfered with our stroke. The boat might have turned. There's too much going on. So it doesn't do much good to do that. So I'm going to summarize and wrap this up and give Pat a couple of minutes to close this out. But the data paddle is a tool for coaches as well as paddlers. The best thing it does is it records what your style and contribution is at that point in time. So it gives you a baseline, gives you an opportunity to study that baseline, to adjust the baseline, and to see if you can make some additional contributions. The information is powerful, okay? It can tell you how to optimize when I show you the videos and the traces, the graphs together. It's usually very concrete evidence. This is what's happening. You might not feel it, but that's what's happening with your paddle. The only way to get better is patience, perseverance, and a strong self-guided desire to become a better paddler. Listen to your coaches. They're not telling you that you need to do something to listen to themselves. They're trying to get the best out of you, and because they know you can do it. And they've seen it often. People somehow have that aha moment. You go, oh my gosh, that really felt like a great stroke. And Pat will sit there and says, that was the best you've done today. Now, if you could just repeat that about 10,000 times, we'd be good. So just keep working at it. And I'd like to offer anybody out there, if your team is interested in doing a full team set of data paddle events, and you can talk to me, and we can maybe figure out how to do that. So it takes a whole, it takes a boat of about 10, and it takes me about 40 minutes to take the data. Then it takes me sometimes half a day to reduce it and get back and have a debriefing with people. But I've done debriefings electronically as well as one-on-one. It's more effective one-on-one, but there's lots of ways to do it. So Pat, I'm going to pass this back to you. If I can figure out how to do that. Oh, I need to stop this first. All right. All right. I have to get this guy up. All right, Pat, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here you go.
What did you just hit?
Yes, sir.
Oh, there it is. You're very lucky. Thank you very much.
Oh!
Okay, now I'm okay. Here it comes. Whoa!
No.
There we go. All right, well done, Garf. That was excellent, by the way. Absolutely excellent. I learned something from you every time you do a presentation like that. I thought it was really good. I never thought I'd say I appreciate the detailed person that you are, but my God, that was bang on. That was. We'll talk more about doing more stuff. And Katie, your presentation on the ergs was great. If anybody has any questions, you can see their emails on the screen right now. So don't hesitate to get in touch with them. If you can't reach them, if you don't have their email, you can always get a hold of me, and I can direct you that way. Okay. Before we go, we got a special guest that wants to say hello today. Mr. Haslam, did you want to say hello to everybody? Mike Haslam is the founding president of the International Dragon Boat Federation. He's a former president now, retired, but he still keeps his hand in it, and he's in Cyprus, so he wanted to say hello to everybody.
No, I'm in the UK, but hi everybody. I should have been in Cyprus, but as Layla said, she got stuck in the UK, so that's it. She's stuck here until we can get a plane back to Cyprus. I've got a flat there as well, so was planning to be doing things in Cyprus over this period, but not going to happen. Anyway, best of luck to you. It's good listening to everything. Nice to see everyone still healthy, and looking forward to getting back on the water whenever that will be, and in whichever form. I trust, in fact, I know from my own association, the British, and I'm sure around the world, they're working out ways which they can carry on training on the water in pairs, probably in O1s and stuff like that, as things get relaxed. And that started to happen in the UK this week. So you can now go out in twos, either as a family group, you can go out more than that, but if you're individuals from different families, you can go out and train, exercise, as long as you keep social distances, and that's no more than two. So I guess that gives a bit of leeway if you've got O1s or kayaks to train in. Anyway, good to listen. Enjoy. Sun shines here. Hope it's sunny where you are. Bye for now.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Good to see you too. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Tim. Tim's going to talk to us a little bit about what to expect next week. We're really looking forward to the variety of speakers that we're getting now. It was nice of Mike to jump in there and say hello and tune in. That was awesome. I wouldn't even guess at who we've got, what countries are represented today other than Canada, US, Cyprus, UK. I said that already. California, that's not a country, but it's far away. Anyway, I'm going to pass this over to Tim. Tim, you're now the host.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Just to finish off, my thanks as well to both lovely Katie from Orlando. Very informative and interesting. Thank you for that. Secondly, my personal thanks to Garth as well. The man is a genius, a gentleman and a scholar, as we say in the UK. Now, next week, what have we got for you? What have we got for you? Paddle the World in 60 minutes, number 4. It's going to be Friday, the 22nd of May, next Friday, 1100 hours US Eastern Daylight Time, 1600 hours UK and Ireland, 1800 hours in Cyprus. We have Nathan Salazar, who was one of our Tampa coaches first this year. He's going to be talking about US juniors and how to train and prepare a junior crew for international competition. Mike Mondrell, yes, you guessed it, he's back. People say you are what you eat. So Mike will be talking about eating to win, a culinary delight, which will be very consuming if you get the gist. Thirdly, Layla. I can see Layla in my screen there. Layla Attai. I thought she was live and direct from Cyprus. She's actually live and direct from the UK. She is a PhD in sports science and nutrition, and will be bending your ear, as we have over here, and giving you some pearls of wisdom on that particular subject. Lastly, and I'm negotiating, it's a very delicate negotiation. I've got a very special guest star that I'm trying to coax into getting before the camera. Whether we manage that, I don't know. I think I'm quite optimistic about that. Anyway, a special guest star for you next Friday. In the meantime, thank you very much. Stay safe, stay well. In the words of the song that I keep forgetting, be young, be foolish, and be happy. Thank you very much, everybody.